I've also stopped having work stress dreams since I stopped watching people fill out spreadsheets on YouTube.
Why are you watching people? That would stress me out.
I find it really soothing because it's decently rhythmic, and repetitive.
But isn't there tons of stuff that's decently rhythmic that's not spreadsheets?
I mean, sure, but I like a good spreadsheet, though, too, so. But yeah. Hello, and welcome to Knitting My Shit Together, a podcast about mental health and knitting. I'm Annika, and I use they, them pronouns, and I am in Moses Lake, Washington, in my new bedroom. And you can find me online on Ravelry at Threadcatcher and on Instagram at Tea-Fueled Living.
Hi, I'm Farrah. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And you can find me on Ravelry at Farrah Knits and Instagram at TomboyFemMags.
Sweet.
Yep.
So for announcements, our Cover Your Ass Knit Along is underway. And it's been absolutely amazing to see all the progress that everyone is making. And honestly, I'm really impressed still how much fun I'm having knitting that garment pattern.
You're breaking up a little bit. Oh, well. Okay, but we'll just pick it up and pretend like that didn't happen. So you're amazed at how much fun you're having?
Yes, I'm amazed at how much fun I'm having at knitting this pattern. I did not expect to enjoy knitting pants or leggings of any sort, and I'm hooked. Yeah, let's see.
I'm enjoying it too. I didn't get a ton of work done on them this week, but I'm still loving it.
Yeah, me too. I had other projects going this week, so I didn't get a lot done on mine either, but I'm planning on getting it more this coming week. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, our giveaway is extended a week.
Yes, we have extended our giveaway on Patreon for a week because we had technical difficulties this past week with podcast stuff. So if you are a patron at any level or become a patron at any level, you will be entered into win 1 out of 6 Peacock stitch marker or progress keeper, your choice. And if you're like, why are they giving away a peacock shaped stitch marker or progress keeper? Go and watch the first couple minutes of episode 21 of our podcast. It's called Paper Peacock, and that explains it, I think, pretty easily. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. What other news do we have? I can't think of everything. Can you?
No, I can't.
All right. Ooh. All right. So should we move on to FOs?
Sure.
Sweet. Do you want to go first?
Sure. I have one FO this week, and it is socks. I finally finished my plain vanilla socks with round table yarns in Hard Rock like Sir Lancelot color. I worked on them forever. it felt like. Like my next pair, I'm already done with the first sock. So I really like them. I've already worn them. That's why they look a little bit raggedy. And I'm going to put them on again after this because my feet are cold. But I wanted you to be able to see them on the blockers. And I really like them. And yeah, I mean, you know, if I knit striped vanilla socks, I'm going to like them for myself because I kind of have the recipe down now. And yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's my FO for the week. And you?
All right. So I have 2 FOs. Both are socks. The first one are vanilla socks that I knit using from Media Yarn's Chroma colorway on their steady sock base, and I've already worn them, so they also look a bit raggedy. But the heels the heels and toes are my favorite part of this, and also maybe the ribbing, just because like it just gets so cool. Oop, here we go. Like
what
the ribbing
kind of
just
bind off
so...
do you do on your socks?
What?
What kind of bind off do you do on the cuffs of your socks?
What is it called? Like Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off.
That's what I do too. I was just curious.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have this pair of vanilla socks done. And then I also finished another pair of vanilla socks. And this was knit with Query Fibers. The main body is Query Fibers sock base. It's a 20 stripe sock, and the colorway is called Potions Class. And then the toes and heels are Euphoria Knits, and it's their sparkle sock base. And I don't think there was a colorway on the back, but it was a mini that I bought on my trip to Texas. And then the cuffs are Knitted Wits Smarty. It was a Knitted Wit Smarty that I had that just happened to match like the lime green.
It does.
Perfectly. so yeah. So I have sparkly striped socks also done. Yeah, and that's it for my FOs this week.
Well, we each have something though, so there's that.
Yeah. That was I finished my striped socks were pair number 10 that I've finished knitting since I started knitting socks in July, so I'm really excited. Awesome. It was a good even number to end on, I think, for this month.
So that's 10 pairs of socks in how many months?
2.5.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel pretty accomplished personally.
Sure.
All right. Shall we move on to whips?
Sure.
Awesome.
I have several.
I do too, so why don't you go first?
Okay. The first I'll show you is one I'm working on now. I cast on a sweater this week. And I am just doing a sweater using Elizabeth Zimmerman's percentage system. I'm going to do a seamless raglan pullover. So I'm using Mondium yarn by Retrosaria in the colorway called Golden Yellow. And this is 100% Portuguese wool. It's not superwash, which I like, but it's fingering weight. And I like fingering weight sweaters. I feel like they give a good fabric. Like, it's perfect if it's 100% wool and being warm, but not super bulky. So I did a swatch. I'm getting about 6.5 stitches to the inch. I then was like, okay, what do I want to, how do I want it to be? And I wanted to have a good amount of positive ease. So, because I basically grabbed one of my other favorite sweaters that I like and measured it. And, yeah, so I have about 272 stitches on the body. So I decided to go for like about a 42-inch body. Which gives me some decent positive ease. And then I'm going to knit the sleeves really long. And then I'm going to I was thinking about putting thumb holes in the sleeves, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to or not. And then I was deciding if I was going to do a cowl neck or crew neck, but I think I'm going to do a crew neck. I'm going to have it be a looser crew neck, I think. So,
cool.
Yeah. I'm loving it. It's really fun knit, really simple. And I think it's addictive in the way the leggings are addictive, and that it's like customized for you exactly how you want it, which I like.
Yeah.
I will definitely be knitting more of these.
It's awesome.
So yeah. So that's whip number 1. A seamless raglan pullover. Okay. Let's see. Whip number 2. This is a bag by Tanny Casey. Is my Bi Pride socks in the colors of the Bi Pride flag. I finished the first one last night. I even put in the heel. Here's the rest of the yarn. And I took off what I'll need so that I can start at pink again at the second toe so that they can be a matching set. So yeah, I'll probably cast this on at some point within the next day or so. And yeah. Let's see. Then I am working still on my skip hat, but I've made quite a bit of progress. I am actually beginning and doing the crown decreases now. So that's good. And I'm doing the slouchy version of the skip hat. And this is knit using Forest Fiber Arts 4-ply sock in the color Lake Life. And I'm really happy with it. It's going to be I think I'm going to really like this hat in the end for me. Like, that's great.
That's awesome.
Did I say that I'm doing the socks, that yarn, that Bi Pride yarn is from Malia Made It. And so if you go to her shop, she has a thing where you can order any pride flag you want. And she'll dye up striped sock yarn for it, which is pretty awesome. So then I have 2 more. Second to last, I'm doing a test knit for Lavanya Patricella, I believe is how you say her last name. Don't know for sure. And this is called the Pianta bandana cowl, like bandana cowl. And so it's in brioche and garter stitch. And I love it.
So pretty.
It's going to be great. I am using Forest Fiber Arts 4-ply sock. This is one of the colors of the month. I think this was the color of the month for September. Maybe October. And then this is Conservatory Yarns, I believe. I can't remember the colorway. This was given to me by Potager Knits, Sam, who also has a podcast you should watch on YouTube. And it, yeah, I like it. It goes well with this. So that is my Pianta bandana cowl, and it's going well. I did just kind of goof up on a row that I don't think I can salvage, so I think I decided I'm going to put in a lifeline like before I made the mistake and drop down, I think is what I'm going to do. I was supposed to do an increase row, and on one of these sections, I didn't do the increase. And so then I went back and tried to do the increase in brioche, but it did not work. But that's okay. All right. Then lastly is my nether garments, which is in Lorna's Laces Soulmate that Sultan, our friend at Spunnomadidiko, dyed up for me. And it's a grello. You can see the traces and hints of yellow. It's very subtle, but I like that. And I am I'm to my thigh now. I'm beginning my inner thigh increases. So that is exciting.
It is super exciting.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll do some more on these. I'm going to slow the rate of my increases down. So instead of, I'm going to like double the space in between them. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll do one set and then try it on and see.
Cool.
So those are my whips. I've got a lot of knitting done this week, people.
You've gotten so much knitting done this week. It's amazing.
It's called depression. When all I want to do is sit and knit. It's like all I can think about doing.
You've heard of depression napping. Now hear of depression knitting.
Yep. No. Well, because it's a way to like make something, but I don't have to be creative. I'm just following a pattern, and I like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. All right. So for my whips, I have my nether garments going. I'm almost to my knee. I'm like 3 inches away from my knee, I think. But I've increased enough that I'm not increasing anymore until at least my knee. So I'm really excited and I'm really enjoying it. I'm knitting mine out of Woolies cakes in the color Poseidon.
That's a pretty color.
It is, and it's bright and happy, and I love it. And the yarn's really soft, and I think they'll make good walking the kids to school pants. So when I'm done with them, so I'm really excited to get some more going on this. But I only knit from where this marker is up to here this week on them, and that's it. So, but my plan is to get a good chunk further on this leg this week.
I think that's all I did was like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches on them this last week.
Yeah, I didn't get very far because I finished 2 pairs of socks and worked on my other whips. So
I might set a goal to try and finish the first leg by next week, which isn't that much. It's like maybe another 7 or 8 inches.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to finish a full leg this week, but my goal is to get above my knee on leg 1. So we'll see. The other whip that I have for this week is I cast on a ripple bralette. And this is being knit with Opal Diamond yarns. If I remember correctly, hold on. I always keep the tags in the bag that I'm working on. Yeah, so Opal Diamond yarns. And it's a fingering sock weight, and it is 75% virgin wool and 25% polyamide. And it's really, really muted colors for me, but I'm honestly enjoying how it's working up. So, yeah.
I think that'll be my next cast on. Either my framework or ripple bralette, one of the two.
I'm really enjoying it. It's a good, it's a decently fast knit. Like, the reason why I only got like 1.5 inches done on my other garments this week is like I knit from the marker to the needles in like a day. So and I am a very slow knitter, so like people have finished this in like a day or two. I'm just a really slow knitter. I'm knitting the 4X size, which has 282 stitches around. So that's also why it's taking me so long. But yeah, I'm really excited to get it done and to wear it. So, yeah. I think that's it for my whips this week. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. All right. Let me put these back. Ready for the mental health moment?
Mental health moment.
Woo! All right. So for this week, for the mental health moment, I thought we would talk about something that I guess is like the end goal for when you're doing DBT. And you get told of this end goal at the very beginning. Like the whole point of DBT is to learn and acquire skills so you can build a life worth living. And so today I thought that we would talk about like what a life worth living looks like, and maybe some of the like actual practical things, like tangible, like actual actions we're doing to create that life worth living. And yeah, so give me just a sec. I need a sip. Okay, so yeah, so for me personally, a life worth living, and I feel like it's probably true for you, is a life where I'm living according to the values that I find important. I went through DBT 3 years ago. I graduated 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. And when I was going through DBT, like Farrah, they gave us these several page long sheets with a bunch of different values that people could find important that belong to different categories. And like you were supposed to go through the list and like pick some of the categories or some of the values that were important to you. And when I did that, I started working with my therapist on ways to incorporate those values into my life and find the areas in my life where I wasn't living according to the values that were important to me. And my brain just went blank and I don't know where I was going with that, but real ADHD life right here, folks.
Building a life worth living. You were making a list with your therapist.
With values. And so you don't need to be in DBT to make a life worth living. I would just like to put that out there. And you also don't need to be in DBT to like figure out what your values are and start maneuvering your life towards living for those values in accordance with those values that are important to you. So like some values that were important to me were mutual respect in relationships, and honesty and creativity, and let's see, spontaneity was also a really big one with me, which I think is really funny because I absolutely hate surprises. But I really enjoy going out and doing spontaneous things and not having every single minute planned. Though to be honest, I really enjoy having like every single minute planned too. So
it's a dialectical behavior therapy.
It's a dialectical behavior. Exactly. Yeah, and so for me personally, this past week has brought a lot of changes into my day-to-day life. And with those changes, like while it was really scary bringing up like my needs to my partner, like the end result or the result so far, like the result of me bringing up those needs has already been, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
rewarding.
Thank you. It's already been emotionally rewarding. And like, I already feel emotionally better about it, about the whole situation. And like, yeah. And so for me, bringing up and making my needs known and then doing the hard and scary work of like being like, no, I actually have this need and I can't compromise on this has actually been like a really big step for me, moving towards a life worth living. What about you?
I mean, I'm like way sooner I'm way earlier in the process than Annika is. So there are ways that Annika has a lot more experience with these than I do, which is totally fine. It's nice. It's nice having a friend who has way more experience with the skills and everything than I do. I don't know. It's been a weird week for me. It was really good in ways, and then I had a little wave of depression hit that I'm like doggy paddling my way through. But for me, and I mentioned this week too on the Instagram, this is one of the ways of building a life worth living, is learning how to live in recovery in terms of, I think in the past what I would have done is I would have seen me having a wave of depression as my fault, or I would have seen it as me not working hard enough or not using the skills enough or not doing what I should be doing. And then I not only would have blamed myself for feeling the depression, because that's what depression does, it's a motherfucker, I also would have blamed myself for the results of being depressed, like being lethargic. And, you know, I've said multiple times, my creativity is like the first thing to go when I'm depressed. So, like, I also would have blamed myself for the outcomes of depression. So it's just like this vicious cycle where you make yourself responsible for everything. And what I realized this week, and this is part of me building a life worth living, is I was like, yeah, I'm depressed because I have major depressive disorder. And so the dialectic in this, the key in it for me is to know that that's going to come up because I have major depressive disorder. And so waves of depression are going to hit, but how I behave within those waves can increase or decrease my likelihood of it swallowing me whole. It doesn't mean I could be doggy paddling frantically and it still won't swallow me whole, but I think it increases and decreases the likelihood of it swallowing me whole. So I'm really going with the whole wave metaphor. So I am basically resting when I need to rest. Like, my motivation is kind of kaput. I have been hanging out with friends, so reaching out, which is good, because even that feels tiresome, I think, in ways when you're depressed. I'm forcing myself out every day a little bit, which is a thing. It's also hard. I took a shower for the first time in a couple days, so that's another thing. So it's just like all these things, and then just realizing, like, okay, I feel this little wave of depression, and I can take care of myself and like rest and chill in bed and knit, but then also do these other things. I can do them both, and this wave of depression will pass because I've had other waves before and they all pass. So that's one way I'm building a life worth living.
Awesome.
Is learning how to navigate that. Because I think if I don't, it'll all fall to shit. Because then I'd just be doing what I've been doing the whole rest of my life. That hasn't really worked. So, yeah. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And I have to say, too, like, it's really interesting after being in crisis and, like being able to grow to be into, like, a place of recovery, and then being in a place of recovery for a while is, like, seeing how, like, my definition of what a life worth living looks like and changes. Like, when I was in crisis, I personally couldn't even imagine, like, well, honestly, being alive and, like,
anything.
what being alive and not being in crisis looked like. And so, like, for me at that point, like, a life worth living looked like being alive to see the next book installment of the series that I was reading at the time come out, or like seeing the final season of whatever show I was watching come out. Like, and when I was beginning the process of recovery and wasn't in crisis all the time anymore and was like starting to become healthier, like it started looking like, okay, I want to, like, a life worth living is I will have tools to be able to get myself safely through my next depressive cycle or my next manic cycle or the next time I have a bad bout of psychosis. And like now that I've been in recovery for a while, it's like a life worth living, like, is making changes in my life that actually allow me to like experience joy regularly. And like it's just really interesting to me to see how it's changed.
I think part of it is, and I think I have fears around this that I need to talk to my therapist about, but I think part of what kicked this little wave off is we started talking about moving to phase 2 of DBT, which phase 2, so I'm graduating from phase 1 in like 2 weeks, and so that means I won't have to go to group anymore and learn the skills. I'll just be practicing the skills in my everyday life, and I'll still be going to individual therapy. And in phase 2, you start addressing trauma, and so we brought some of that up, and it was not fun. And so I think that might have triggered this, but I get that that's part of the healing process, and that's why you learn the skills before you do that, so that when you're working through the hard stuff, you have the skills to do it and wade your way through it skillfully. However, my fear is that, like, what I don't want to happen is them be like, oh, now she's feeling depressed, so maybe we need to not work through this stuff right now. But I don't think that's going to happen because I think I'm being really skillful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
As someone who's been through it, they expect you to get depressed and feel depressed while you're working through trauma.
Okay.
Just like, they're not going to be like, oh, this is bringing up uncomfortable emotions for her, and now she's having like reactions to it. Like they're expecting that.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think those are the kinds of things that I just talk to my individual therapist about and confess. And I'm like, okay, so here's my fear. Because I think that's part of like a healthy therapeutic relationship. So
Totally.
I'm going to bring that up to her, and then I'm sure she'll just reassure me because she's awesome and be like, no, we're totally doing this. So, yeah. So, yeah. That's that. I just want more serotonin.
We all.
It's like the weirdest feeling because the depression is not sadness for me at all. It's just like this heaviness and like an apathy and a numbness.
Yeah.
And a like, yeah. And a tiredness.
Yeah. For me, that's mostly what depression's like for me too, is like a huge feeling of apathy towards everything and tiredness and like feeling nothing.
Yeah.
And then like generally I can tell I'm starting to like head into a depressive cycle of some sort because I'm not a crier. Crying is still decently uncomfortable for me unless I'm watching Call the Midwife and like a baby's being born and then like I cry every time. Or something really loving is happening on TV. That also makes me cry every time too. I don't know. But like
Matthew and I went to see a movie today. He's a crier in movies and shows. and he cried in a preview for the movie.
Wow.
Like, not even the movie we were going to see, a different movie's preview, and he cried. He also cried during our movie. So anyway, go on.
Eric and I went and saw the midnight showing of Up when it first came out in theaters, and I cried in the previews, and I feel like everyone else who has seen that movie cried during like the first 10 minutes of the movie, because like, how can you not?
Yeah.
And which I also cried there. But yeah, no, it was really funny because it made Eric really uncomfortable at the time too, because like he had never seen me cry before, and here I am just like openly like sobbing in the middle of a movie theater. And I like, it was one of our first dates too. Like at this point, he's just like, what am I supposed to do?
That's an awesome first date moment too. Like, so the person I took is sobbing. Yeah.
I mean, it's a better reaction than our actual first date, because we went and saw Bolt in the theaters. We went out to dinner, and then we went and saw Bolt in the theaters. And I had worked a double shift, and I fell asleep during the movie. So, not a great first date, but whoops. So, it was the middle of summer, if I remember correctly, and the movie theater was like the perfect temperature, and it was also dark, and so like I just happened. I'm like, sorry. My bad. So, yeah, I guess sobbing during the movie is better than falling asleep, but I don't know. Why don't you guys weigh in the comments below whether or not sobbing in a movie is better for a date than falling asleep? I want to know what people think. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it, yeah?
Yeah.
So we go live on Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays, we talk about the top 5 hot right now patterns on Ravelry. And we roast people if they're not size inclusive, because we're at the end of 2019 and there's no reason. Just kidding. We don't really roast them. We just
say this isn't size. We don't even say it. We say the next pattern isn't size inclusive, so we're not even going to talk about it.
And we move on. And then I give my computer dirty looks, and it's okay. And on Fridays, we talk about acquisitions, if we have any, and just generally hang out, and it's a good time.
And we're building quite the little community there.
Yeah. I really look forward to our lives.
Me too.
The conversations that go on in the comment section are really something.
We call ourselves all the posse of weirdos. You too can be part of the posse of weirdos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's super fun.
It is.
Yeah.
I just dropped down a whole bunch of stitches because I didn't like the fabric. I had like this split stitch or something, and I'm like, you know what? It's all stuck in it. I'm just going to drop down and pick it up. So that's what I'm doing.
Thanks.
So, folks, we'll see you next week. Hopefully, I will have an uptake in my serotonin levels. If that's how that works in your brain. How about you, Annika? What are you hoping for by next weekend?
More than 4 hours of sleep a night. Yeah.
That would probably be good.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's
hopefully this will block out.
I bet it will. I'd be really surprised if it didn't.
Yeah, I think I have to drop 2 stitches actually. I'm just going to drop them down and pick it all up. Okay, people. We'll see you later. Thank you for joining us on this rather mellow week.